Remember, don't put all your dirty linen in the public, because the same people who hear you speak flippantly, they are the same people who will take that story and spread it around. And before you know it, your relationship is dwindling. I have seen so many families who could live together in Africa. They come here and they cannot survive 2 years. Before you know it, they are separated. They are divorced. And guess what? The children are left for the society to raise. Hello. Welcome to All Things Immigrant and Society podcast. Let's break barriers, change the narrative, and navigate this path together. You're not alone. I'm your host, Dr. Iwu. What are 10 common challenges that African immigrants face in the United States? Welcome to All Things Immigrants and Society. I'm your host, Dr. Iwu, and I want you to join me today. Let's go through some of these common challenges that African immigrants face when they step foot in the United States. Feel free to leave your comments below on any of these challenges or many more challenges that come to mind. I want this to be as engaging as possible. The first challenge is culture shock. When you step foot out of that plane into the United States, the culture is different. From different social norms to new lifestyle, the United States can feel very different, entirely different from everything you've ever known. Simple things like how people greet, how people respond to you when you greet them, the food, how they approach time, everything just looks different. For you to adapt into that culture can definitely take time. Be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. Be patient. You'll make mistakes, but be patient. Find a supportive community. There are so many cultural groups that you'll find around in any state that you find yourself. Find a supportive community that can help you ease this transition off. Take time to learn about the American culture. Sometimes it's very common to think that our culture is the best and every other thing is nonsense. No. Think about an American coming to your village and disrespect your farm, your chief. You won't like that. So when you come here also, there is an American culture. So take your time to learn it. Adapt to it in ways that will be meaningful for you. Observe the local custom. Ask questions when you can. And with time, everything will feel familiar. The second challenge, language barrier. Now, many Africans speak English, no doubt. But sometimes the aspect of our dialects, our environment, shapes the accent with which we speak English. Now, I just want to make this very clear. An accent is present in every culture. It's just the way somebody speaks. There's no good accent. There is no bad accent. But when you come to a different culture, a different environment like the United States, the way you'll speak back in your home country is not the same way the people here. The accent here is different. And so sometimes you'll find difficulties understanding them, and they will also find difficulties understanding you. So while you speak English fluently and you understand English fluently, I want you to know that the accent is different. So when you speak to somebody, when you go to a shop and you ask somebody you want to buy something, and they look at you with that blank stare, do not be offended. Sometimes they just don't understand when you speak with that heavy accent. The same way an American will come into your village, they speak, and you will find it difficult to understand them. Think about your grandmother meeting a white person for the first time and they're speaking English to them. They'll be startled. They will not understand a word. Sometimes they'll just laugh along, but they don't understand it. So it's the same thing. When you come over here, you can speak English, no doubt, but the accent will be different. So find ways of adapting. Stand your ground when you can. I'm not saying go about being shy, don't speak. No, Speak what you know, and with time, people will get to understand you as you get to understand them. And sometimes the accent can make you feel so isolated. It can make you feel so misunderstood. So do not be afraid. Just take your time, one step at a time, and you will be able to adapt. One of the ways that you can also learn the accent, the American accent, you can check it on YouTube. You can learn to speak English like an American. You can learn to speak English like a Brit. So there are so many resources. If you really want to change that accent, you really want to work on it, you can get help from YouTube and you can change it and speak in the way that you're comfortable. The third challenge, finding employment. Now, most of us, when we are in Africa, we see the United States as this country where there's job everywhere and it's so easy to get. You don't have to strain. All you need to do is present yourself and there'll be work for you, good paying job and all that. It's not easy to get a job in the United States. Now, for some of you who are already career people back in Africa, you'll find out very soon that when you move over here, your professional credentials, your certificates, your degrees, they absolutely will not be accepted by employers who are here. If you were somebody at a senior level back home, you come here, you might have to start at an entry level. So be open-minded. All I tell you is be strategic. If you are starting at an entry level, know that you're not ending there. If you start working in a factory, let the ambition be to emancipate yourself, to get out of there as soon as you can. Because mind you, it's hard work in the factory. It's hard work being a CNA. So be prepared to uplift yourself, emancipate yourself, come out of that with a good ambition, with a good vision of how you want your life 30 years, 20 years, 40 years down the road. Trust me, that energy is going to wane down at some point. So don't get stuck in the odd jobs. Don't get stuck in the unskilled labor. Try to do it just to get you going. But remember, you have to emancipate yourself. You have to move up the ladder. There are so many certification courses. You don't really have to enroll in a university and all that. There are so many certification courses around. 6 months, 8 months, you're done with some of those courses and they can land you really a good job. If you're somebody who is interested about formal education, you can also go to school. You can go to the university and obtain degrees of the United States that can help you seek meaningful employment in maybe non-profit organizations or corporate America. The fourth challenge, racism and discrimination. Now, it's unfortunate that when you come here as an African immigrant, you'll face racism, you'll face discrimination. Now, back home, we are among our peers. We're all Africans. We can speak languages that we all understand. We don't know the word racism. It doesn't really exist that strongly in our African societies. But when you move over to the United States, where we have diverse cultural mix, different races, Caucasians, Hispanic, Asians, everybody is mixed up here. Racism is something that you're going to face. It could be subtle, it could be microaggression, or you can face it head on. So have that at the back of your mind. Racism is something that you will face. Sometimes you will be discriminated upon. So have that at the back of your mind so that when that moment comes, you are not shattered. You are not broken into pieces. Educate yourself about your right as an individual, as an employee, because the laws here actually uphold. Surround yourself with very supportive communities, people who have come here before you. Speak with them, ask them questions. They'll be able to talk to you. Talk to them about injustices that you face at your workplace, at your neighborhood, and you'll be able to get the help that you need to integrate. The fifth challenge, immigration policies and legal status. Navigating the U.S. immigration system is one of the most difficult things for immigrants, not just African immigrants, but all. They have very complicated visa processes, very lengthy wait times for your green card, for your paperwork to get through. And guess what? While all this is happening, you can't even work. So what do? Get yourself a good lawyer, speak with people who have been here again before you, let them help you navigate these things. And hey, lawyers, please try and be in communication with your clients. There's so many African immigrants who come in here. They submit their case and the lawyer is not even communicating with them. It keeps them in a very uncertain situation. Just be in touch. I know you have a lot to do, but be in touch with our brothers and sisters. Give them that courage that it is in process. If the system is delaying so much, you start feeling stressed. It limits your access to job, it limits your access to education, it limits your access to healthcare. Seek help from reputable immigration attorneys. There are also non-profit organizations that are specialized in helping immigrants. So there are organizations that are in different states. Find out. And some of them will even help you for free. Non-profit organizations or church groups that will be willing to take you up and give you the support that you need. So do not hesitate to seek advice from people who have been here. Do not hesitate to speak out the challenge that you face. They say a problem shared is halfway solved. When you come here, bring that parable with you. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel shy. This is a country that we all come here and the very first experiences are almost the same. So somebody you talk to openly will understand. The sixth challenge, access to affordable housing. Housing can be a major struggle, especially in a big city. And guess what? When most of us come into the United States, you don't want to go and live in the village. You don't want to go and live where you don't find fellow Africans. Most of us live in the capital cities of the states, and that is very expensive in terms of housing. The way the system is organized as well, you need credit scores. You need all these checks and balances for you to be able to get a good house. All of this can be very, very disturbing. Again, bear in mind that you're not alone. Your credit history can be a stumbling block in terms of you getting a good and affordable housing. So be prepared to speak with the people who have been here again before you. They can guide you, they can help you. And if you've been here before and you can help somebody, that is an opportunity. Take that opportunity. You don't need to know where they come from. They don't need to come from your village. Help when you can. Seek assistance from local nonprofits if it becomes really that difficult. I met a lady who came here with a baby and it was really difficult for her commuting, going to work and having a place to stay. So talk to the people you see. When your instinct tells you to talk to somebody, just go ahead and talk to that person. And if you are somebody who is in a position you can help, do not hold back. These challenges can really drive us very, very crazy in this country. The seventh challenge, cultural identity and belonging. For many African immigrants, balancing their own cultural heritage and adapting to the American culture can be very tricky. You may feel the pressure to fit in while you also try to preserve your traditions, your values, your language. Now, this tension can lead you to feeling isolated, or even you can lose your own identity over time if you're not careful how you preserve your own culture, how you preserve your own identity. The same thing goes for you who comes here with your family, your children. You have to intentionally teach them. You have to intentionally hand down your culture to your children. Don't be passive about it. It's very important. They are the very first people who will lose it, and you will see it. Some of them, they go to school, they come back home, they say, don't call me my surname anymore. It doesn't sound cool. That's what they hear in school. That's their environment. So when you come here, you see it's easy to get an iPad. It's easy to get a big screen TV. That's not what you give your children for them to learn with. Most of us make that mistake. We give them iPad. We put them on the big screen TV. We put TVs in their rooms. So we think we are doing something wonderful to them. You make them glued to the TV. They're just sucking up everything that this environment has to give them. So do not lose your cultural identity. Do not lose your sense of belonging. There are many cultural associations in any state that you come into. Join your brothers, join your sisters, and continue living your life as though you are in Africa. Learn also to embrace the other side of the culture. The American people have got their culture. Black Americans, white people, they have their cultures. Embrace those cultures as you try to teach people your culture so that you learn and you preserve. Challenge number 8, healthcare access. Now, the US healthcare system is very confusing. It's very expensive. Many African immigrants struggle here with access to affordable healthcare because of the high cost, because of the lack of insurance, because of unfamiliarity with the system, language barrier. These are all things that will make healthcare very difficult for you. Find out in the community, find out the healthcare centers that can offer affordable healthcare to you. There are so many of those centers around. Some of them are registered as non-profit organizations. Find out with people who have been here. Again, I'm still going back to this because it's very important. Talk to people and they'll direct you. Do not hesitate to ask for help when you need it. Challenge number 9, separation from family and relationship strain. I don't know how I can emphasize this more. For many immigrants, leaving home, leaving your family is a very big challenge. Some people come here, they stay 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years without even going back home. It's that serious. So when you lose that touch with your family, when you miss home that much, it starts affecting you mentally. It starts affecting you emotionally. Be prepared for that. It's going to drain you emotionally, the fact that you have separated yourself from your family. Now, one big challenge also is the relationship strain that most African immigrants get when they move over to the United States. Back in Africa, we live in a patriarchal community where the man provides. When you move over to the United States, say you move here with your wife or you get here and get a wife, these things have to change. You probably were a big lawyer in town, you were an accountant in town, you were a doctor in town. You move over to the United States, your credentials are not accepted by employers, you don't have a good paying job, you have to start from scratch. Your wife cannot sit there and just watch you all live in the street. She has to get out there, do whatever she can also to support the family. Remember, once the dynamics change, responsibilities cannot remain the same. Learn to share the responsibilities, share the house chores, share taking care of the babies, share taking care of the house, share in preparing the meals, because all of these are the things that will keep you guys together. Your wife goes out there, tries to work so you guys can meet up with the bills. You also go out there, try to work so you can meet up with the bills. The role play that you normally know in Africa will have to change. Ladies, sometimes the newfound freedom and independence can drive us crazy. I have to say this. Sometimes it can drive us crazy. You start seeing, hey, I can make $10,000. I can make $7,000. Trust me, some of the unskilled work, like even the CNA job that you will just learn for 4 weeks and get on it, it's very common for ladies to get into that more than men when they come from Africa. And so you find a lady who has gotten herself into that and is making good amount of money, and the man probably is working in a factory, is not making that kind of money. That power dynamic is shifting, but learn to live supportive lives. Men, stop the insecurity. Stop looking at your lady now because she makes 7,000 in 2 weeks, or she makes 7,000 in 1 month and you're only bringing in, let's say, 3,000. Stop trying to belittle her. Stop trying to make her feel inferior. No. Stop feeling like she's making the decisions because she has the money. No. collaboratively work together. The insecurities and all the tantrums should be thrown out of the window, and seek help when you need it. Sometimes you truly need the help of somebody who can advise you. Seek marriage counseling. Those resources are out here. Talk to people. Talk to your elders who you trust in your community. Talk to people you trust in your associations, in your cultural group. They can help you. Remember, don't put all your dirty linen in the public, because the same people who hear you speak flippantly, they are the same people who will take that story and spread it around, and before you know it, your relationship is dwindling. I have seen so many families who could live together in Africa. They come here and they cannot survive 2 years. Before you know it, they are separated, they are divorced, and guess what? The children are left for the society to raise. 10 years from now, you will complain that you came to America and you thought you had the dreams, you thought you had the ambitions, but where did they disappear? Learn to live together. Learn to solve your issues. Learn to respect each other in your relationship. The 10th challenge, and the last one, is not the least, the stereotypes and the misrepresentation. You know that feeling when you come to the United States and you say you are from Africa, you go to a new job and you are from Africa, you speak and that accent is there, and people just know, oh, that's a primitive person. Yeah, it's there. African immigrants often face negative stereotypes, both in the media, in society, and in their workplaces. So this can definitely work against you if you keep it in your head. Do your very best. Be who you are. Be who you are first for yourself. Don't kill your dreams because of what people think or say about you. You've come here with a head on your neck. You've come here with a dream in your box. Do not let that dream go away. Keep your dreams. Keep who you are. Be who you are. Be assertive. And be able to achieve your dreams one day at a time. You'll face these stereotypes. You'll face these misrepresentations. And you will have to do it by yourself. Nobody is coming here to save you. And remember, back home, they don't care. The moment you get on that plane and get to the United States, using of that money is theirs to do. And I hope that we can change this narrative with our brothers and sisters back home gradually. Because sometimes what we do here to get the money that we send to them, they cannot even do it if they are given the opportunity or if they are given that chance to do it. But don't get me wrong, you have to support your people back home. You know where you come from. You know where the pain is. Support your people back home as you're able. But don't kill yourself. Challenge stereotypes when you can by sharing your story and your accomplishment with other people. You know, for those of you who have come here and you have succeeded, you have dealt with some of these challenges, be able to challenge these narratives, be able to challenge these stereotypes. You have accomplished a very great deal of things in the United States. Tell your story so that somebody can get inspired, you know. Build awareness, support African creators, leaders, and organizations, and promote positive representation. Educating our people about the richness of African culture can help break down these harmful misconceptions. Now, while these challenges of African immigrants abound in the United States, they are not insurmountable. We are very resilient people, determined people, supportive in our various communities, so these obstacles can be overcome. Whether it's building stronger communities, seeking resources, or creating opportunities, African immigrants continue to inspire with their own strength and perseverance. So together, we can work towards a more inclusive society, a society that values and uplifts everyone, regardless of where they come from or regardless of how they speak. If you have any other challenges that you want to put in the comment section, let's engage, have this conversation going, and let's support each other to be able to integrate in this place where we now call home. Thank you very much. Until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Ewu.